MSTY by YieldMax has the most dedicated and loyal fan base that I've ever seen for an ETF. Genuinely. Is this good? Is it bad? There's probably some flaws with it, pros and cons to everything, of course. But I do want to talk about a new ETF that I may have to sell some of my MSTY to purchase. It is a RoundHill weekly pay leveraged ETF called MSTW, and I'm really excited about it. We're going to cover this fund. We're going to look at their announcement on Twitter, all the way into the fund and why it works, and compare it to some of the other leveraged weekly pay ETFs by RoundHill. The real reason I'm making this video is I have seen some phenomenal performances from the weekly pays. And I'm very, very excited to see how MSTR plays into that role and if they can compete anywhere with MSTY. Now, I know some of you guys watching this are diehard MSTY fans, and I don't blame you. The returns have been absolutely phenomenal, but I always say don't fall in love with just one company or just one ETF because things can change. I always recommend learning as much as you can, absolutely engaging with other people that are investing in the same space, and of course, watching and tracking for yourselves to see what the best returns are coming from. And for me, it's been some of these leveraged ETFs. So we're going to get into the details in just a moment. But first, if you're interested in weekly dividends, in monthly dividends, in any sort of ETF content, you are in the right place. So don't forget to like the video and to subscribe so you never miss future free updates on what is making income investors the most money. Let's roll that intro. If you guys haven't been watching my channel before, or you're just new to the income investing space, I did put out a video on MSTY a couple of weeks ago talking about how the dividends are falling. It's titled MSTY Dividends Are Falling, and it just basically correlates to the implied volatility being lower. We saw Bitcoin absolutely trail off for a little bit there, kind of just not falling, but kind of just dying down in hype. Now we've seen something new. We've seen absolutely crazy runs from Bitcoin back up to all-time highs, and I think that's going to definitely boost the implied volatility for MSTR and thus making more distributions for MSTY. But we have to talk about these ETFs. These, in my opinion, are the most underrated income ETFs on the market. Now, I am not paid anything by RoundHill, but the returns are speaking for themselves. Since I've been tracking all of this data, it's been crazy to see some of the returns these things have made. And I will say they are higher risk investments. I've made full videos on the leverage ETFs before. They're all on my channel for those that are interested. But the returns that we have seen through tracking for, weeks, even months now, have been phenomenal. My top performers, which we'll actually look at on our RoundHill tracking spreadsheet, have been up to 80+% in the green, which is wild, right? Wild. And they've only been trading for, again, a couple months. So that's why I think this is a really large announcement. So here's everything that's going on. RoundHill posted, you asked, we answered, and RoundHill MSTR weekly pay ETF, MSTW, is coming soon. Now, what really surprises me about this is how long it took a company to make a weekly payer on MSTR. I don't know what the reasoning was behind it, but weekly dividends get more AUM because people want weekly payers. We just like them more than monthly. So people, I would say on average, this is just based off my comments. It's not statistically backed, but correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys care more about weekly and monthly? If you had two ETFs, one that was paying weekly, one that was paying monthly, and they paid the exact same and had the exact same return, would you prefer weekly? Would you prefer monthly? And that's what I mean when I say I think a lot of people lean to weekly and would even sacrifice some returns to get that weekly payment, which isn't always good. I always like total return. I'm a big fan of total return, especially since I'm reinvesting my dividends, but that's my style, not necessarily yours. So this RoundHill Investments, it got 370 likes on their X. I'm also on X. I'm a lot more active on there. So chat with me on there if you're interested. Spencer Invests on Twitter or X. And people are pumped up. People are very excited. It's what people have been asking for a very long time, and I'm not sure why it did take this long. I'm not sure if YieldMax is going to try to counter and have MSTY go weekly now, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was what we saw, simply because this could blow it away. Now, I want to talk about a couple of these other MSTR funds. We've seen MSII, we've seen MST, we have seen, what is the other one? IMST. Or MST, I don't even remember. There's so many of them now, and I haven't really seen those outperform. MSII I've been watching, but it's still relatively new, so we haven't seen enough distributions to really compare it to MSTY, in my opinion, but that will be coming soon. So I know that I'm just yapping a lot, but what I'm saying is, for me, MSTW looks like it's going to be a top performer because we've seen the leveraged ones do really well. If you don't believe me, let's take a look. I want to give you guys a very clear picture of why I think MSTY could be in trouble with MSTW. These are the 10 weekly pay ETFs. The underlying stocks, Apple, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, Coinbase, Robinhood, Meta, Netflix, NVIDIA, Palantir, Tesla. Pretty solid, right? Usually a little higher implied volatility on these some of these stocks, I will say. Tesla, PLTR, Coinbase, and then you have some slower ones, Berkshire Hathaway, Amazon, Apple. But what I'm really curious about is I've been making content on these for over a year now. Not these specifically, but the leverage ones since they came out. I bought them very early on in their trading days. I did that because I like to track them all, right? And I do hold quite a bit of the leveraged weekly pay ETFs in my Roth IRA because I've seen them have very powerful performances. Now, what I do every single week is I do an updated video on my YieldMax portfolio and my RoundHill portfolio for the weekly payers. I have never seen the RoundHill videos do as well as the YieldMax ones. And so I'm coming to you guys with some questions for you. Why is that? Are you more interested in just YieldMax ETFs in general? Do you like YieldMax because they have ULTY and MSTY and we don't have anything like that from RoundHill yet? Do you think that YieldMax is just a better company? Do you think that their ETFs perform better because we've seen some do really, really well? Let me know. I'm genuinely really curious because for me, I've seen RoundHill do some phenomenal things with these new ETFs. I'm not sponsored or paid by any of these companies. I like to talk about what makes me the most money. And you guys know that on the channel, right? We're all in this to make good returns in the market. But wow, I'm genuinely really, really curious. So let me know in the comments because I want to know if you guys just, are we biased towards YieldMax? We just like them more? Or again, is it because we don't know RoundHill, we weren't aware of these ETFs? Will you guys be watching the RoundHill ETFs now that we do have an MSTR fund? Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to jump into our tracking spreadsheet for these leverage weekly payers. We have seen 5 of them for a couple weeks to a couple months now, and 5 are very new. So I want to showcase the total returns that we've seen from just the 5 that have been trading since the inception of the weekly pay ETFs. And let me know, do you guys think you're missing out on these? Did you just not know about them? Definitely going to be reading every single comment on this video. So what I have pulled up here is our RoundHill weekly pay ETF portfolio for those that have never watched this. And I've made a lot of videos on these saying the biggest dividends I've ever received because these ones do typically pay more than a lot of the YieldMax ones. ULTY does compete, but we have seen the biggest dividends from, I think, COIW, PLTW, and maybe even a few of the Granite Shares ETFs. But let's look at this. What we're looking at isn't just an accumulation of numbers. It's me tracking these for weeks on end. And when I cut to our weekly dividend log, you can see everything. I know it's going to be hard to read these. We're not going to be reading through individual numbers, but I've been tracking these since the 3rd week of March. That is when I bought them, and I have consistently tracked all of their distributions since then. Now we're going to have more and more coming out, and I'm going to continue to track them. That's a big basis of what I do on my channel because, again, it's really fun, and I'm a data nerd. But look at this. We've seen $2.08 from PLTW. That was a massive distribution. COIW and NVDY have bounced around quite a bit, but no one's really paid out as much as PLTW, which is great. It's one of the best performers in the account, but it's not the actual best. What we can see, we have our worst performer. We'll start with that one. AAPW is down 20%. Apple has fallen. No surprise there. Then we're going to go to our second place performer, TSLW. That's still up 7.6%. Now, I'm recording this in July, so what? We've seen about 4 months of tracking with these, which is great. We've had 4 months with good returns, but 7.6% in 4 months is very, very solid. Very, very solid. I mean, over the year, you'd have a pretty solid return, but that's just the beginning. Like, what is going on with these? I know our market is green, and okay, pause. Listen to me. We are in a very, very green market. We've seen things doing extremely well. These are high risk. In a down market, they take beatings. I've watched it when I tracked it in February, and we are not exempt to down markets by any means. But some of these are doing insane performance-wise. NVDW, this one isn't even one of the top 2 performers. It's up 46.3%. 46.3%. And our first dividend, if I slide to the right, was, March 16 to 22nd, sometime during that date. That is wild. 1, 2, 3, 4 months, almost exactly 4 months. In 4 months, we are up 46.3%, and it's not even the best performer in the portfolio. Let's keep moving. PLTW has been one of the top performers since the inception. And what I need to point out too is our market return versus total return. Market return is what our money has done, just our initial investment. Total return includes the distributions or the dividends from these. And so when we're looking at PLTW, for example, our market return, we are up $46 on just our initial investment of $100. That's a 48% return. Dividends included bump it all the way up to a 32+%, or about 72% total return, which is remarkable. And then we see the same thing with COIW. Our market return is $50. No, it's $64 technically. We are up 65% on just the price appreciation on these because they're leverage based. It's so interesting to me because we haven't seen, I wonder if they're capturing more of the actual market compared to just the sole, long-term options based ones, because we're seeing the actual stock go up in price significantly, and we're still getting a 18 to 20% return with our distributions as well. COIW has returned 83.6% since March. Since March, ladies and gentlemen. This is wild. So I wanted to showcase that, and this is what I'm really excited about with MSTW. If we could see it perform like this, I mean, we've seen MSTR's implied volatility insane. We've seen some crazy returns with it. It may not even outperform COIW, but I know you guys are excited because it's an MSTR fund. But let me know. Do we think it's going to do as well as these other leverage pairs? Would you consider using a leverage pair over some of the YieldMax ETFs? I know ULTY is phenomenally popular. I own that one myself, but I have been buying more and more of these leveraged weekly pairs by RoundHill because the performance is just unmatched. COIW is up 84%, 83.5%. All of these, if I consistently bought these and I literally was just, I would be selling out right now. And what I mean by consistently, like if I'd been buying and holding them for a long period of time, I would straight up sell if it wasn't just for YouTube. I would sell out and take 83% of my money. That's phenomenal. Can't do that on here because I'm tracking it for everybody, but I just wanted to showcase those returns in this video, and I'm genuinely curious what you guys think about MSTW. Is it going to be the MSTY killer? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope you guys enjoyed. A little different style of video here, but as always, I'm the first place I want everyone to go to when it comes to these weekly pairs, to news, to everything on YouTube. So I really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. You're going to be joining a giant community. Let me know in the comments. You guys have always helped me educate myself further on these topics, and that's why I like to do these kind of poll videos where tell me what you think. I'm going to be reading the comments. I will try to respond to every single comment on this video as long as I can, because it takes hours and hours and hours, but I know it's definitely worth it. So appreciate you guys. Again, like and subscribe, drop a comment. And if you like this video, check out these that are popping up on your screen right now, including our video on COIW versus CONY and which one is performing better. Hint, hint, COIW has been moving like crazy. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.